So for this video, we're gonna take blue. I have a couple of them, because why would I not? We're gonna take these pencils. We're also taking these markers. And we're gonna take these pencils. And we're gonna make a dinosaur. And no, it is not a velociraptor, but it's close enough to the body type. So here's my little sketch, my little chicken scratch with my notes that I've started doing. I already had an idea of what I wanted to do, and here's a sketch. So we're making Ceolophysis, or if you're a fossil fighter player like I am, Ceolo. So I figured I would start off with like some facts. So I'll talk about some facts, but so I actually kind of like how this turned out, because what I was doing was as you can see, I was actually adding in more details than I normally would in the drawing phase, which the sketch part is absolutely my favorite part of this whole thing. I was just doing it to see if it would help me do a little bit better. Even the outline, like I kept a little more detail than normal. Again, just to kind of help, so that way when I was coloring it, I could try, keyword is try, to add the detail in while coloring, but it didn't work out completely, but it's fine. But it's also, the colors that I had were very similar. Because the background colors, I already knew what I wanted. Because they're kind of like, so I just kind of like cut the background, but they're pretty much like on a hill type of doodad with like petrified trees, and they have plants and stuff. So yeah, so background colors were already picked out because of what I did. And then now the Ceolo colors, I actually did like a random color generator because I'm like, I didn't know what I wanted. So that's what I did. And then even the shades as well. So the shading colors were also randomly generated. So they were a dark purple, gold, and a light umber is what I used. So because I already was using brown for the Ceolo, it kind of didn't, separate too much. But overall, however, with all the colors I picked, because I also used red and pink or green and pink in here, it blended so well. I was like, the colors turned out really good. Like you'll see here soon, but it makes me, it gives me like fall vibes because of the colors, because it's mostly brown, orange, and yellow. I do have some gray in there, but then there's also like green and pink, but it's just, it gives me fall. But yeah, so here's a sketch, as you can see. So I think the sketch turned out really nice, because I also like the sketch, because I feel like once you ink it, it just takes everything away from it, but, Alright, so I'm going to read off some facts that I have. I have 2 different dinosaur books. So I'm going to read off a few facts of just like information from them. I think they're both relatively similar, but why not? So for the first one, the fossil locations, the USA, the diet is a carnivore. The weight is about 100 pounds. The length is 8 to 10 feet. And the meaning of the name is a hollow form in reference to its light hollow bones. So fossil evidence, many specimens of Ceolophysis have been discovered at the Ghost Ranch, New Mexico. This is a site rich in fossils and includes a graveyard containing hundreds of specimens, possibly victims of a flash flood. The remains of adult Ceolophysis differ, one form being robust, the other gracile. This may represent males and females. It was once thought that Ceolophysis cannibalized its young. The abdomens of many adult specimens seem to contain young Ceolophysis, but the fossils were later reanalyzed and shown to be other reptiles. It's one of the earliest dinosaurs. It may have been a scavenger, but it was certainly an efficient predator with powerful hind legs and a long, slender body. It was built to be fast. Virtually hollow leg bones and a skull with large fenestrae openings reduced its body weight, further increasing its speed. A long, flexible neck with a pronounced curve helped it to grab its prey. Ceolophysis may have also hunted in packs, which would have enabled it to take on large prey. So the jaw, it had more than 100 dagger-like teeth for ripping into flesh. A double hinge let it move its jaw back and forth, sawing its food. For the hands, it is strong 3-fingered hands were used to clasp its prey. The petrified forest it lived at a time when the world's landmass formed one supercontinent known as Pangaea. The lowland environment is favored was probably subject to dramatic change of season, either very wet or very dry, with the monsoon seasons regularly causing flash floods. Floating may account for the massive skeletons found in the graveyard at the ranch, and it certainly created the petrified forest, a logjam of fossilized trees found in nearby Arizona. The tail is long and slender. It served as a counterbalance to hold its body almost horizontal to the ground while it ran. The hands were equipped with 3 claws to enable it to dig prey from its burrow. There was a 4th claw, but it was embedded in its flesh, so it's useless. And where in the world? It's certainly found in Arizona and New Mexico and may have ranged across vast land masses. So that's the first book. So much good information, if y'all didn't know. I was reading this, I was like, this is actually kind of cool. So now the next one I have is a time is late Triassic, locality North America, Connecticut, New Mexico, size 8 to 10 feet. So again, some of this will be relatively the same information, but it's just written a little differently. So the appearance of this comparatively large ceratosaur is well known from a find made in 1947 at Ghost Ranch in New Mexico. A number of skeletons of different sizes were massed together, about a dozen of them complete. There was very young individuals, maybe just hatched, and adults ranging in length from 3 to 10 feet. The find suggested they lived as a group and must have all died at the same time. This dinosaur must have been a ferocious hunter. It was built for speed. Its slender, hollow-boned body probably weighed less than 50 pounds. The neck, tail, and legs were long and slim. The tail made up about half the body length. The long, narrow head was armed with many sharp teeth, each with a cutting, serrated edge. The bird-like feet had 3 walking toes with sharp claws. There were 4 fingers on each hand. Only 3 were strong enough to grasp prey. It probably roamed the upland forests, hunting in packs close to streams and lakes. Their prey would have included small shrew-like animals. 2 of the adult skeletons found in New Mexico contained the bones of tiny Ceolophysis in their body cavities. Initially, paleontologists thought that this meant that it gave birth to live young rather than laying eggs like most other reptiles, but the hip bones proved too narrow for this to be the case. The conclusion seems to be that this dinosaur was cannibalistic. So that was the second one. So kind of, same, but different. But, so what it was saying, the long, slender body type, I know I was using blue, and she's, bigger and a little thicker. So I was using it just for, reference purposes, because, it's 2 legs, got the long tail on the neck, so I was like, that kind of works for having it for, just to kind of get an idea, because I'm trying to do a little more with the, posing, to try and make it a little more accurate, not that that's guaranteed. Oh, I also was putting blue on here just to, add another color. It worked and it didn't, I don't know, it's just kind of something just to add. But, in the Fossil Fighters game, Ceolo is even, very, long and slender and has large eyes. And the raptors are all, squat and very thick. So even then, that's how they differentiated them. But I was just using blue because she was just tall. And she just kind of worked for what I was needing. So that's why I was using blue as, a reference point. But originally, I wasn't going to add the blue color in there, because I just wanted the light coming from, top left, kind of. As you can see, I was trying to do, harsher shadows. I was trying to branch out a tiny bit. But originally, I was going to use a blue, but then I decided, I'm like, what if I do, just to have, an extra color on the side? So, of course, I wasn't thinking that when I put down the color already, it wasn't going to, completely cover. But we're not going to, it wasn't going to entirely show. So it kind of just almost, in some areas, on the orange specifically, it almost kind of just gave, another shading color. So it kind of worked. But then, other areas, the yellow, you can definitely see the blue stands out. Now, I didn't want to, do every single thing with blue on it, so I figured the stuff that was closest to the right could have blue, and part of the Celos would. So one of the Celos, her tail, or I guess 2 of them, the tails are pointed towards the left, so I didn't put any blue on those because they're kind of behind them and they're away from where the blue light is, I guess. So I didn't bother with that. But the other, the rest of the bodies though, I did include the blue on there because that's where they were closest to. I also did just put it on the plants. So I just thought it was nice just to add in a little bit of another random color. So again, it kind of worked, but it didn't, because I didn't really like plan for that. I just kind of did it. So it's okay. It's not the best, but it's alright. But I also decided to give them spots because whenever I do dinosaurs, I have a very specific scale pattern that I do. And that's also in like essentially the bipedals. I don't know what that technical term is. I don't want to say theropod because that means four, but the bipedal pods. How about that? I give them feathers because I know that's what they're saying is like those kinds of like dinosaur species probably had feathers. So I had feathers and scales, so I do a mixture of both. Because my raptors probably have a little bit more feathers on them. So I didn't want to, and they also have like the wing feathers on their arms. So I didn't want to do that for the Celos because again, they're supposed to be a little bit different than raptors. So I was also trying to make them a little bit like thinner too than what I normally would, like, you know, a little more slender. And the arms, I did that for sure because normally, you know, I draw thicker arms. So I try to like slim down the arms. Obviously the thigh is going to have to be, you know, still thick because that's a thigh. But then like the shin bone and like down to the foot, I did try to make a little bit skinnier to kind of help with this fact. I still gave them a long tail because I love long tails. So I was doing that. Like even the little baby raptors, I was trying to give like a big head just so it is. It's not a raptor, it's a Celo. I was trying to give the baby Celos a larger head just to show they are babies. Is what I was wanting to do. So it actually kind of works. So they're very cute. Enjoy it. But I think it kind of turned out nicely. And with the shading, what I was also trying to do was I was wanting to give like harsher shading, I suppose, because of the way the light was coming down is what I was wanting to do. So it was coming from the left, so obviously like a lot, I guess like top left is kind of what I was going for. So that means, you know, essentially a lot of like the underneath parts or like where the tail's curling, it's going to be in shadow. So that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to give that effect, which I think overall it works. Because I was being like really deliberate when I was doing it. And I was kind of thinking about the shading, like, okay, where's this all going to sit? So that's what I was doing. And normally I don't do patterns on my dinosaurs, but I decided to give them like the Appaloosa treatment. So I gave them spots. It kind of works. Like they do blend in with the brown, but that's okay. I didn't re-outline them, so I'm like, I don't want them to super stand out. They're kind of just there. So I mean, it kind of worked with the spots. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. So it's just me just trying to do something a little bit different again. So, but I just kept the spots on the rear part and like in the upper thighs is where I was keeping him, and like up to the tail. Because I didn't want to have it like everywhere, but I figured, and I also made them all the same color because like even in one of the books, just it had like all the Celos being like the exact same. So I was like, especially if they live in herds, you know, packs, whatever. I was like, I'll just do that just to show they all kind of like stay together. You know, so that's what I was doing. Oh, but now we're on the satisfactory part of re-outlining. But as you can see, like, you see what I mean by, like, it gives fall vibes. Minus the pink and the green. But even then, I guess you can still have, like, flowers and whatnot. And, like, the green part during fall, like, early fall. That's just what it gives to me. Because of the colors. I just think it's funny. So I just looking at it, like, it looks nice. Like, I like it. So I was like, this is interesting. So it's kind of fun. But overall, they turned out pretty good. But again, with that gold, the brown, and the purple, I was like, it worked for every single one of them. I was like, this is nice because it just blended nicely. Even with the green, which I was surprised with. Like, it just blended. And I was like, what is this? It just looks good. And I was like, interesting. Because I'm starting to do that now where I just kind of like randomly generate the shading colors. Because I'm like, just make it more interesting. And the funny part is that it works. It just works. It doesn't matter what I do. It all just works. And I'm like, this is actually kind of cool. So it just gives extra colors I wasn't planning on using, especially if it's like a color that's like way outside of what I was not using originally. Alright, but here is the end, so with the black background in and stuff. I know it's splotchy, but that's not the point. Is the black background to help clean it up and just makes it look nicer. But yeah, so there's my little Celos. Overall, I think they look pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. I think this is probably the best dinosaur picture I've done so far. But they look good. Yeah, so I was trying to just do everything in like dark colors, you know, where the light wouldn't hit it and everything, just to kind of give more of the harsh shadow and trying something a little different. But thank you guys for watching. So please like, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!